9 years ago, a friend of mine made a decision that many would call brave. Some might even call it romantic. She packed up her life, a thriving career, financial independence, a future filled with possibilities, and moved across the country to be with her husband. He didn't have much. Not in terms of money, not in terms of stability, not even a clear vision of the future. But he had her belief in him, her support, her love. And for her, that was enough. She told me back then, this is what commitment looks like. You stand by your partner. You build together. It sounded noble, selfless. The kind of love people write songs and screenplays about. But here's what they don't tell you about selflessness. If you're not careful, it will eat you alive. The slow disappearance. The first year was hard, but she smiled through it. He was figuring things out, and she was doing odd jobs here and there to keep them afloat. She adjusted, from project manager to freelance consultant, from regular income to uncertain gigs. She cooked, cleaned, organized his world while slowly letting go of hers. They rented a small apartment. She made it a home. She learned his rhythms, his moods, the way he liked his coffee. She believed in the potential of what could be more than she ever questioned the reality of what was. 2 years passed. No steady job for him. She kept saying, he's trying. The job market's tough. She picked up more hours, more stress, more responsibility. She carried their dreams on her back. Year 3.
Still no job.
Still no real progress. But she stayed. Because that's what you do when you love someone, right? By year 5, she'd lost the language of her own needs. Everything revolved around his confidence, his frustration, his comfort, his ambitions. She shrunk herself to make space for him. But the hardest part wasn't even the sacrifice. It was what came after. Around the 6th year, they started trying for a child. It didn't happen right away, and then it didn't happen at all. Fertility tests, appointments, injections, prayers. Nothing. And in the silence of their empty nursery, something darker began to grow. Resentment. Not hers, his. As though she had failed him. As though her worth, after all she had given up, all she had poured into their life together, could be boiled down to one thing: the ability to bear him a child. He grew distant. He stopped talking. He stopped touching. Then he started disappearing, late nights, vague explanations, suspicious texts she wasn't supposed to see. He blamed her. He mocked her. Maybe if you were more of a woman, we wouldn't be here, he said once. She didn't speak for days after that. The breaking point. The first time she caught him cheating, he didn't even deny it. He said, flatly, well, what do you expect? You can't give me a family. That was the moment she realized she had become invisible in her own life. The woman who once led boardrooms and managed million-dollar accounts was now pleading for basic respect. For decency. For love. She had given him everything, her money, her energy, her best years, and he had returned the favor with betrayal and blame. And still she stayed. Not because she was weak, but because she was exhausted. Too drained to start over. Too worn down to believe she still had worth outside of him. One morning, she woke up and looked at herself in the mirror. Noticed the dark circles, the vacant stare, the way her hands trembled when she brushed her hair. She didn't recognize herself anymore. That day, she left. Quietly. With nothing but a suitcase, her passport, and her broken heart. The recovery nobody talks about. Leaving wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a different kind of hell. The grief.
The shame.
The anger at herself. How could I let it get this far? She spent months untangling the lies she had swallowed. The belief that love meant sacrifice. That a good woman stands by her man no matter what. That her value is tied to being a wife, a mother, a martyr. She learned the hard way that when you abandon yourself for someone else, they will abandon you, too, eventually. And when they do, there will be nothing left to return to. But she fought her way back. Therapy. Long walks. Journal entries written through tears. Rediscovering old dreams. Rebuilding her career from scratch. And now, she's not the same woman she once was. She's stronger, wiser, quieter in some ways, but louder where it counts. She's still healing. Some wounds go deep, but she's no longer bleeding for someone who wouldn't even hand her a bandage. The lesson. If you're reading this and you're the kind of person who gives everything, your time, your energy, your soul, to someone who keeps taking and never gives back, I need you to hear this. Love is not supposed to destroy you. You are not supposed to shrink yourself to fit someone else's lack. You are not a failure because you chose wrong. And you are not selfish for choosing you now. I watched my friend give up everything to stand beside someone who wouldn't even bend to lift her up. I watched her pour love into someone who is a leaking vessel. And I watched her nearly lose herself. Don't let that be your story. Take care of yourself, first always. Because the right person will never ask you to sacrifice your light to make them feel warm. Final words. There's a toxic narrative that still lingers in many cultures, that the good woman endures. That real love means putting someone else's needs ahead of your own. That loyalty matters more than dignity. It doesn't. Love should expand you, not reduce you. Loyalty without reciprocity is just self-abandonment.